Greetings, film freaks. We are the Podcorn Kernels. Join us as we discuss the hard and often indigestible truths that are at the center of the fluffy and delicious world of cinema.
What's poppin', people? Welcome to the Podcorn Kernels podcast. My name is Adam, and joining me in your earholes is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
If you ever smell feta, run.
On today's episode, we will be talking about House of Gucci. This is a 2021 film directed by Ridley Scott and stars Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, and Al Pacino. IMDb describes the synopsis as follows. When Patrizia Reggiani, an outsider from humble beginnings, marries into the Gucci family, her unbridled ambition begins to unravel their legacy and triggers a reckless spiral of betrayal, decadence, revenge, and ultimately, murder. Here is an original song to support the synopsis. Directed by Ridley. Accents done badly. Select this film gladly. Just a name, Gucci.
So like our pigeon,
Boof,
so like our pigeon.
boof. Just a brand, Gucci. Just a bag, Gucci. Privilege, Gucci. Power, Gucci.
So like our pigeon,
Boof,
so like our pigeon.
boof. Lady Gaga, booby. Adam Driver, moody. Money, Gucci. True story, Gucci.
So like our pigeon,
Boof,
so like our pigeon.
boof. Espresso, Gucci. Spaghetti, Gucci. Ferrari, Gucci. Stereotyped, Gucci.
So like our pigeon,
Boof,
so like our pigeon.
boof. Problematic, clearly. Is House of Gucci a hate crime? Absolutely. Let's start with some facts about the film. Angelina Jolie, Anne Hathaway, Marion Cotillard, Penelope Cruz, Margot Robbie and Natalie Portman were considered for the role of Patrizia Reggiani.
Oh, what a surprise.
Would you have preferred to see any one of them instead of Gaga?
I don't find the character all that fascinating. It could have been played by Margaret Thatcher's daughter for all I care.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't think Lady Gaga was good or bad. I thought she was just all right. But after you sent a picture of the actual Patrizia Reggiani, I thought it was actually quite good casting.
Yeah.
In terms of physical appearance.
I'd say she has that sort of shape and figure and facial features very similar. I mean, who knows with this film? I don't know. The makeup artist came in and did a Leto or threw a nose on her or something. Who knows?
Yeah. But there is a similarity between the character in the film and the real life person that Gaga's portraying.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt in that. And I actually thought Lady Gaga was pretty decent in her breakout acting role, A Star Is Born. I quite liked her in that. But then again, she is playing a singer, and she's got a cracking set of pipes, isn't she? She is a good singer.
I think she can act. I mean, in American Horror Story Hotel, she plays a really seductive, sexy, creepy sort of vampire who's lived forever. And that's my first time I ever saw her bum and see her act.
Yeah.
And she's done it again. She's shown her bum and she's done another performance. And it's like you said, she does a fine job at it. It's just whether you appreciate this type of film or that type of character. It's hard to invest in a character like this.
I think you look at the list of potential Reggianis, and I think the likes of Anne Hathaway, Cotillard, Penelope Cruz, Margot Robbie, well, actually all of them, so Angelina Jolie and Natalie Portman, I think they're all superior actors to Lady Gaga.
I think they're all bad ideas.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, there's perfectly good Italian actors that can speak English, you know, and I don't think, you know, when it comes to true stories and films, why do they need to look like them? Why is this story not as important, or the character arc not as important than looking like them? So I would have gone Monica Bellucci. A, she is Italian. You know, B, she's aged in a way where she could pull off the role, but you know, she's still attractive and seductive like Gaga is. And you know, I would have had Vincent Cassel, even though he's French, he speaks Italian. I would have had him play Maurizio. You know, use people that are actually from the mainland.
And Bellucci and Cassel, they actually married or were married, weren't they? They were together?
They
Is
were,
that right?
yeah.
They're not now?
No, they're not now.
That'd have been an interesting to see that on screen, because the story focuses on a relationship that peaks and then drops. It'd be interesting to see a divorced couple playing that.
It doesn't have to be Cassel, but he sells Europe to most people. He's smart. He's like the front cover of every aftershave advert. He's charming. He's like a French Christopher Waltz, or Mario Del More from the Gomorrah, the Italian crime drama, which is pretty cool. I've only seen 3 episodes, but that's solid.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say this early on that the film would have been a more enjoyable experience if it was an Italian cast speaking Italian. It would have made it feel more authentic and less hammy.
I mean, sometimes directors, you know, they want to tell their story to a wider audience, to say that be Hollywood or Europe or the Western world. They tend to obviously go big actors and the English language. I think with a story like this, I mean, the only way I can compare it is if imagine a French or Spanish film coming out and it's about Queen Elizabeth I and it's played by a French or an Italian person, and it's their version of Queen Elizabeth I, how alien that film would be to us. We'd look at it and we'd be like, or it's George Washington done by Tunisians.
Yeah.
You'd be like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why do I want to watch a film from France and it's about George Washington and it's his biography played by a Frenchman?
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is just weird. So I feel for Italians in a sense, because they're watching a film about obviously one of their most famous exports, and it's like played by, you know, it's bastardized by Yankees and English, and it's a bit.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a good point, well made. I think that it kind of isolates the natives, that story's probably well known and they know the characters, the personalities that are being portrayed by the Americans, and I think it probably eliminates them from the story, because they're watching these Americans put on, for the most part, really dodgy accents, and they have to try and digest and absorb that and enjoy it. I think it'd be difficult to do so.
But why as well is even mostly the support cast are also not Italian born? Like Jack Huston's in it, from Boardwalk, and you know, I know Pacino's Italian heritage, but in all, he's a Yank. Yeah,
sure. But I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. It's to try and appeal to the masses. So they've got a big named cast to try and get more bums on seats, to try and sell those tickets. And I think film lovers or Italians or anyone with any sort of self-respect really is going to look at this and be like, well, it would have been a true story better told, with an element of authenticity to it, which this film lacked from minute 1 to minute end.
Scott gets it wrong quite often in his latest 20 years of films. Like his Gaga thing's no different to his Orlando Bloom with Kingdom of Heaven. I just didn't understand the casting. Like she's great, but she is first and foremost, she is a singer, and I just find it weird when musicians jump between these two mediums of music and film, and it's like, oh, like Harry Styles is in a film, or Mick Jagger's in a film, or something. I'm like, oh,
it can be distracting, can't it?
Well, I just don't. I'm like, why? It's a gimmick. It's like I went to a hangi feast in New Zealand where they cook all the meat under the ground and stuff, but they knew it was so shit that they had a guy playing saxophone like near the buffet line, because it was supposed to be an authentic Maori experience. And when we got there, it was plastic chairs and like chicken from a supermarket. So they were like, this is so shit. Someone play a saxophone.
Yeah, distract them.
This old guy comes out and plays a saxophone. And that's what I get when I see a musician in a film, or vice versa. I'm like, oh. Yeah. It's like Russell Crowe's got an album. I'm like, oh.
Stick to your lane, yeah?
Well, Johnny Depp, now he thinks he's a rock star of guitar, right? Technically, and as a musician, he wouldn't be on any stage if he wasn't Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
even
true.
A session musician wouldn't be. No,
they wouldn't even humour him, would they?
He comes on stage because he's a gimmick. He's the panda at the Great Wall of China, and he's the saxophone player at the Hangi Feast.
Okay. Lady Gaga revealed in an interview in January 2022 that she and Salma Hayek shot an off-script sex scene which was cut from the film.
What, them two doing it?
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a thirsty bigot, but I would have, for one, liked to have seen that.
Was it true? Relevant to the story, I mean.
I have no idea.
Pina.
But the red-blooded heterosexual in me, I wouldn't have minded seeing Lady Gaga and Salma Hayek get a bit hot and steamy. Might have made the film a little bit more interesting.
I thought Jeremy Irons was giving it to Jack Houston.
There was a few hints at
I thought he was like his daddy, like his sugar dad.
Yeah.
I didn't know because I felt like Jack Houston might be homosexual in the film. And later it even appears to be more so when he talks to a Texas designer.
I think it's hinted, isn't it?
It's whiffy.
Yeah. There's a whiff of that between Irons and Houston's characters. They sort of have little shared
or
moments,
maybe
little glances.
I was looking for something to interest me.
Yeah, desperate to find gold in a film that otherwise lacked it, maybe, safe to say. Yeah. Would you have liked to seen that scene?
Salma Hayek or Jack Houston?
Salma Hayek and Lady Gaga.
I
think they're both beautiful women.
They are beautiful, yeah. I mean, there was already scenes early on in the film which were quite raunchy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to show it, I can talk about it, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaga's got a lovely body, and it's, and she used to be considered ugly when she first came out.
I struggle to believe that.
Yeah, it's true. When she first came out, because of the lovely, strong features and stuff, she was always disregarded. She was like she was a songwriter for people like Britney Spears, and and then you've got your conventional pretties.
Yeah.
And she was never accepted, I don't think, in the beginning as good looking. Like she almost was like, they were like, oh, Gaga's mad. Like she's got all this like meat on her and stuff. And she wore a meat dress.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I didn't mean.
Yeah.
But like now she's like, I think everyone looks at her differently.
Yeah.
I certainly do. Like, I just think like she's got something about her. And the fact that she can sing and write song and dance, she's a talented person.
She's the full package. There's no doubt about it. And I think it's important to say we're not speaking here and we're not objectifying her or sexualizing her, but within the constraints of the film, her character is almost seen as like a temptress. She sort of flaunts her figure and her confidence to try and lure Adam Driver's character, Maurizio Gucci.
Stick into.
Yeah, and tries to lure him in with her undoubted sexuality and stuff like that. So I think it is relevant in the film. And I think that if that scene was included, I think that it might have boosted my overall rating up.
I reckon it would have entered into the, the most paused scenes in cinema.
Yeah.
I love that category. It's great.
Yeah, do you know what's number one out of interest?
Yeah, Basic Instinct.
Oh, of course.
Sharon Stone, apparently all the rentals that went back to Blockbuster were sort of broken around the mark where she opens her legs.
That is not true.
That is true. Everyone could tell. No, okay, not broken. You'd get the DVD, you'd get the VHS home, you'd put it in, and it would be at that point you press play, it's stuck where it plays from when she crosses her legs. So like every dude that rented that VHS paused, stopped, arrived with a gravy train, put it back in the box and left because it is a shit film.
Yeah, and you could argue that's considerate for the next viewer. You don't have to do the work. Anyway, that's off.
There should have been a station at Blockbuster. Clean up.
Oh. Final fact, at Uncle Aldo's birthday party, Aldo says they are missing a player. The men fighting, wrestling and throwing a soccer ball are playing Calcio Fiorentino, also known as Florentine football, one of the most violent, organised team sports in which punching and kicking are legal.
Oh my God.
Why didn't Ridley Scott make a film about that?
That would have been better.
I'd like to watch a film about a sport that's basically football / American football and boxing and kickboxing.
Can I name it?
Yeah.
Where's the egg?
Where's the egg? Yeah. I'd give it.
Where's the egg?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're rucking. And I found that even though in the film it's only a tiny, less than a minute in a scene, and it's ruined by Leto overacting the fucking shit out of it.
You wish he'd take a pet project from 2000 to which he bought the book rights for and tried to make a film for 20 years on to change the people chasing each other with a ball.
Yeah, I would. That's interesting to me. As a lover of football, imagine a football where you can just fight.
I'm with you.
I'd love to see that. And I strongly think it would be a better film than The House of Gucci. I think so, anyway.
Yeah, it'd be cool. If it's a sport and it could do wonders for that sport, give it a re-emergence, a blood sport. I love a blood sport.
I'd
mate,
like to see that. Yeah.
Running Man. Wishk.
What did you like about The House of Gucci?
I love the lower class blue collar montage 23 minutes in where he's accepted into the truck driving community. It's up there with some of the best montages. Rocky, you're the best. Commando, where he's gearing up. Just that whole, he like has this really like camp water fight with this lower class blue collar guy. I mean, this guy is the son of billionaires, Italian royalty almost, and he has a water fight with a guy, and then it cuts, and then he's playing football in the park with him, and he scores, and he puts his arms up. I'm like, what the fuck? It was this Top Gun.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
What, and you liked that?
I did.
Because you find it funny?
Cheesy.
Yeah.
It was almost like it had to be intentional.
Yeah.
You can't stop your film for a little 2-minute montage of, and now Maurizio Gucci was accepted by the hood rats.
Yeah. But I think the film's full of those messy transitions. I mean, that one is a funny example, but earlier on in the film, I think, or it might be later, he goes and within the film, the context of the film, him and his dad have a rocky relationship, and his dad basically says to him, I want nothing to do with you. Some time has passed, we're not sure how much time, and he goes back to his dad and says, look, Dad, we've had a kid, and they sort of rekindle, they reconcile, yeah. Then the very next scene is Jeremy Irons in a casket, dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, so we're just going to glaze over that, are we? And there's nothing more is said about that. Adam Driver looks down at his dead dad and looks a bit sad and then walks off, and then it cuts to another scene. Yeah. And the whole film is like that.
Well, and he uses songs for dating as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like to tell you what sort of year it is. Oh, now it's Faith by George Michael.
And I think it runs concurrently throughout the film, though, that messy progression of time. Unfortunately, they're not all as funny as that one where he has that, like you say, that montage when they start having a little camp water fight and he's playing football and he walks into like minutes later, he's like, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, yeah.
What, your family are multimillionaires and the happiest moment of your life is having a water fight in a car park? I was like, I call bollocks. That's not true.
Yeah, but he did shortly go down on her a little bit after that scene. I think that peaked. I think that's why he said it's happiest time of his life.
Yeah, he feels more free, I guess.
That put the cherry on the dirt on his knees that he had obtained by playing lower class blue collar footy.
Yeah.
It wasn't egg chasing though, was it?
No, they were just kicking a ball around.
Just regular football.
Yeah.
Regular.
What else did you like about the film?
Jeremy Irons, always a class act. Be he diehard villain or a Spanish missionary in South America. I think he's great. He's great. He's just a solid pro, isn't he?
He's
actor.
His on-screen presence is undeniable.
His voice,
charismatic, stern. Always, even when he's playing a warm character, there's an element of intimidation behind those eyes, and he's always really strong sort of presence.
I think he's undervalued. Like I watched a series called The Borgias, and it's about like when popes had like women they slept with and stuff. They weren't pious almost. They were quite dodgy. They'd get people killed and that. And he played a pope, and I thought his acting's so good. Like he's really consistent. His voice is incredible. I don't know if he's a Rada boy. I find his on-screen presence always really captivating. But he's always playing like little support parts or like he rarely plays a lead, doesn't he? He played a lead in The Mission and a few unknown films, I suppose. Not very well mainstream films, but I think he's classy, man.
What did you make of his accent in this?
It was Jeremy Irons' accent for me. I couldn't notice if he was putting a tinge on it because he's without a home as an actor. They put him in a film and he plays him. He's his own voice, and I think that's the better way to go with it. Similar
to Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery. Yeah.
I think I sniffed a hint of an Italian accent in this film.
Would you even know? I mean, is there a slight Russian tinge in Garga's voice?
I can say wholeheartedly that his accent was definitely one of the more stomachable, if that's even a word.
Yeah,
ones
digestible.
Yeah. Some of them, I'm looking at you, Jared Leto. Some of them were really almost criminal. And I think that he was certainly one of the better ones, which perhaps isn't saying too much.
I mean, without not having researched and watched a lot of videos, I watched a couple of interviews of the real Reggiani. And when she did speak English, she did sound a bit cartoony. So Gaga, I suppose, can get away with that. But I didn't see any of Paolo.
Yeah.
Now, if Paolo was as ridiculous as he is in this,
then
I suppose he's done his job. But
it's hard to think that the real Paolo Gucci, who is the character played by Jared Leto, there's a guy out there that is that stereotype.
it's because he's speaking in the English language. If he did it in his Italian accent, Italian language.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't have minded with all of the hand gestures, and the boofs and the boofs and stuff. You're like, oh, okay.
I think it's interesting to point out that I spoke to an Italian about this film, and before I even finished my sentence, "Have you seen House of Gucci?" he was off on one, saying it was awful, terrible. And I said to him, I have no Italian heritage whatsoever, and I found part of me being insulted on your behalf. And he was like, yeah, like totally. He said it's awful, it's so bad. And he was like, he said he knows the story quite well. He said it was quite a huge scandal, as you'd imagine, back in Italy when this all happened. And he said it was just, he found it really difficult to sit through. So I think that's an interesting and important perspective that an Italian native was sort of boo-hooing this. I think that says a lot.
It would be a hard watch for a native. Like I was saying earlier, if someone said to me, oh, you're now going to watch a film about Richard III or something, and it's played by Russian actors, and I'll be like, what?
Do you know what it reminded me of? What? Think way back to, I think, 2001 and Ocean's 11, and Don Cheadle played a Cockney. Do you remember that? I don't remember much about that film, but that image and that accent that he put on sort of burnt into my memory, and that I really struggled with. Now imagine watching a whole film where every character is doing that. It must be, it must be difficult to.
You're having a Barney Rubble, bubble bath.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fudge me.
None of us speak like that, right?
Christ.
Any more likes about the film?
One was more aesthetic, really, when Maurizio escapes to St. Moritz in Switzerland, and there's just a scene when a fire's crackling, it's snowing outside, and he's having a slow drink. I was just like, oh my God, I'd give left nut for that. It just looks so cosy. If money could buy you anything, it should be experience. It shouldn't be a bloody handbag.
Yeah.
Life.
Daddy want.
Yeah. Oh, and Jack Houston looking like he was making his pitch for James Bond.
Yeah, great shout. Yeah. I wouldn't hate that.
Dark haired, great. I mean, he was great as is it Richard in Ball Bulk? Brilliant. Love to see him do more. His role in this was kind of, I don't know what he was, a lawyer.
Yeah, I think he was initially the lawyer of Jeremy Irons' character Rodolfo Gucci, and then later on in the film he actually
becomes CEO.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
wants to protect the name Gucci by selling it to Iraqi investors.
Yeah, because that makes perfect sense.
Unusual.
Yeah. What I like most about the film, and I feel you'll probably disagree with me, but Adam Driver. Now, I know you aren't a Driver devotee, but I do find him an interesting on-screen presence.
I like him in silence.
Yeah. I to be honest, I did like him in this. In a film full of dodgy Italian interpretations, I found his accent was probably the least awful. It didn't feel as forced as others. It didn't feel like he was plagiarizing anything. He didn't feel like he was being like a cartoon stereotype. It felt a little bit more grounded and subtle. And in a film where it's so over the top in terms of accents and physical emotion and all of that sort of stuff, I thought he was pretty good. And I do like Adam Driver's body of work. I think he's decent, and I think he's good. The best parts of his work are yet to come.
If they took the words chow and espresso out of the script, there would be no script.
Yeah, and boof.
Boof,
yeah. I also like the costume design. I'm not someone who knows much about fashion at all, but everyone looked sharp as fuck in House of Gucci. One day I will own an impressive and expensive suit, and I will flaunt said suit in a place that doesn't deem smart attire necessary.
Not Paolo's corduroy suit.
No, I'm talking the sharp Adam Driver suits, the sharp Jeremy Irons suits. They're crisp, they're clean, they look nice, and I was a fan of the costumes in it, man. If I see sharp suit in a film, I'm immediately like, I should spend money on a decent suit.
Tenet's the best suits I've ever seen.
Sharp, yeah, definitely.
Best.
Yeah, that's Christopher Nolan's Bond film, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And that lovely contrast between Patterson and John David Washington.
Yes.
The contrast between their styles, like one's almost like a British alcoholic smart, and the other one's like a really sharp, like New York, like business owner smart. It's just, love it. I think they looked better in that film.
Yeah, I'd go and agree with that. But I've never been one that looks at a brand and's like, I need to earn I need to own this brand of clothing.
No.
But then I see things like House of Gucci, and every time I see something, I mean, it helps that the people that wearing them are like stunning looking people. Every time I see something like it, I was like, I wish I could go and spend a couple of grand on a decent suit. I ain't got anywhere to wear it to, but I would love to just have one because I think they look sharp. I thought the likes of, like I say, Driver, and Houston, they all looked really sharp in this. And I was a bit envious. I like the style, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
And my final thing I liked about it is the combination of espresso and cigarette.
Oh, baby.
The perfect duo in any European city centre. I love to have a smoke and a coffee and just sit there taking in the culture and people watch. House of Gucci made me want to go abroad and sip and toke the good stuff.
Yeah.
And it did.
Which you don't do a lot of.
No.
So you treat it like it's a movie moment, and that's how I do it.
Yeah.
I see a sunset, I'm like, do you know what goes so well with this? A little park drive, a little sizzle of a smoky pancake.
And there's several points in the film where Adam Driver's character, Maurizio Gucci, he's a bit stressed out or whatever, and he takes time out to sit on his own, and he's just sitting there in a chair with a little espresso and a cigarette on the go in the hustle bustle of a European city. And I'm just like, I'd love that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to just sit there. I know both those things aren't necessarily good for me, but
No.
I enjoy them.
I agree with you.
Especially if I'm out and about and I'm abroad, love taking a weight off my feet and sitting down and just chilling with those two things. Love them, man.
I agree with you. My GP said to me, you need to stop watching Mad Men. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, they're probably right, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't watch one more sip of whisk or toke of smoke because I'm like, right, I'm going out.
Boardwalk Empire, Mad Men, Goodfellas, any gangster film. I watch that and I'm like, I think I'm going to go and buy some cigarettes. Which, is not good. What didn't you like about the House of Gucci?
Why Jared Leto? At best, that was an Emilio Estevez role from the 80s. That was not a Jared Leto role. I mean, I'm only holding on a bit of love for him for Dallas Buyers Club. Other than that, I don't really rate him. And
Requiem for a
Dream, yeah. Requiem for a Dream,
Fight
great.
Club?
That was his breakout, though. Flight Club, anyone could have played
Lord
that
of War?
role. Younger brother.
Yeah.
Die.
Yeah.
His
standout roles are Dallas Buyers Club and Requiem for a Dream,
yeah.
without a doubt. Then you look at things like Suicide Squad, Morbius.
I'm confused why you even said yes to this.
Because it's Jared Leto. He was probably given license to act up as much as he wanted. I would put money on the fact his character in the film, Paolo Gucci, every other sentence he says boof. I would put money on the fact that that's something he added. I think it is for someone like Leto. Oh, I can wear a fat suit, or he might have actually put on the weight. I can completely transform a look. The difference is someone like Colin Farrell completely changed the way he looked and put in a performance as the Penguin in Batman.
Yeah, but that's a villain.
And was really captivating. True.
Villain much easier to invest your acting skills into. Investing your acting skills in a 6-hour makeup sesh every morning into an idiot coward with no talent.
But I think it speaks to what Leto wants to do, because he probably sees this role as, I'm this stunning rock star with luscious locks, and I think he thinks everyone thinks he's brilliant.
I think
it's actually the opposite.
He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to look into that age gap, because I thought, why is he playing like a 65-year-old? But when I did the maths, I think Paolo Gucci in the film at the start is 49. And that's younger than what Leto is now.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
But of course, a film like this, of course, it feeds into Jared Leto's ego, because I honestly think he thinks he is a phenomenal actor. You hear about the method acting he does for films like The Suicide Squad, where he played a really below par Joker and sent like dead mice to the rest of his cast to try and intimidate them. And you hear the extents he goes to for these really nothing roles. I 100% see him getting a role like this and thinking, this will be amazing for me. He probably went into this thinking, hello, here's an Academy Award, when really it was probably the worst one in there. And I tell you what, watching it the second time, it was probably the best thing about the film, because it was such fun to just fucking laugh at him, because it was so bad. It was funny.
What did he do? What did you think he method for this?
I reckon.
What? Without getting punched? Go to a Starbucks and just be like, big spaghetti.
I reckon he walks along with a Game Boy playing Mario all day long, just playing that and getting inspiration from that accent, because the accent is that hateful. There's no nuance to his accent, to his vocal performance. You look at Jeremy Irons, and as I say, you get a whiff of an Italian accent, but it's not strong. And you could, judge him for that. You could say that was
No, you
poor.
look at Emilio Estevez, because that is who should have been casted for the role of Paolo.
It's an interesting choice.
He
Probably
looks
do a
like
better
him.
job.
He looks like him.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe he wasn't available. Who knows?
Maybe.
Anyway, let's all laugh at Leto.
Yeah.
What else didn't you like about the film?
She can't fold. I found it funny. When they're in the boat, her and Mauricio run off at the start. For context.
Yeah, go on.
They're courting now at this point. She's lured him away from his law degree and his stoicness. She's looking wonderful. And they steal a little boat and they go off into a river, and mist comes in so no one can see them copulate. She takes this coat, she folds it once, she folds it twice, and then she turns it over and it all unravels and she just puts it on the floor. And I'm like, this is about fashion. And you can't fold a fucking coat.
I tell you what, I'm here for petty dislikes like that, man.
No, well, me
in
not.
a film as chaotic and messy as this one, the fact that you saw a character's lack of folding as an issue, I love you for it. I think that's brilliant.
I forgot I like.
Huh?
I forgot I like.
You've got another like?
No, yeah. Well, just one thing I really liked, a little bit of attention to detail. Once she'd gone to a family party within the film, it's the first time she's actually been accepted after being rejected by Dad, her father-in-law. She goes to Al Pacino's character's party, doesn't she?
Yeah, birthday party.
Yeah, so she tastes glamour, she tastes Asti, she tastes a special cake and everything. I think about 2 minutes later, she's at home. She's going through the fridge looking for cheap ice cream. She's trying it. She don't like it.
Yeah.
Because her taste buds are changing. She wants better. She's hungry for... it was a nice little character affectation.
And that's a lovely balance between the lack of folding and the disgruntled taste of ice cream. They're really nuanced things you found about the film that I quite like.
Because she's trying to mimic and adopt class rather than be born into it.
Oh, Dad made a good point.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Something I can't move past with films like this is I find it so annoying that there's this weird paradigm of its art. Look, catwalks and being underweight and being bulimic and being a model that's just like suffering just to be on a magazine and for some guy to go, you look timeless. And it's just bollocks.
It's nonsense, isn't
It's
it?
every time a bloody perfume or aftershave advert comes on, a really good-looking guy looks at a woman, he looks at her, she floats to the ceiling, a starving Ethiopian kid puts his hands up, and it's like Dior or something. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, what are you even selling here? This perfume will not make you fly.
No.
It will not make horses come out the clouds and you and a six-pack dude ride on the horses into heaven. Like, what are you doing?
Infuriates me. Infuriates me that people sit at a catwalk with their craziest outfits on, clapping because someone in a mood just walked down an aisle. Like, no one would do that on a plane. If I came out of a plane toilet and I just dropped the biggest dog ever and I walked down the aisle in a mood, not everyone would be like, oh my God, look, and they all taking photos like he's amazing. It wouldn't happen.
Well, they'd probably take photos and security would be called.
Yeah.
Because that's probably dangerous.
A plane has had to land before because someone shat in the toilet and it was that bad that they had to emergency land.
No.
Yeah, the smell was making people throw.
No.
It's true, man.
Someone logged in a plane toilet and the pilot was like, we've got to land this.
Yeah.
Because of a shit.
Look it up.
Flush it.
Look it up.
Flush it.
It doesn't matter because the gas had already entered the air system.
I struggle to believe that
It's true.
they stop a flight where hundreds of people or tens of people
It's not a fucking boat.
All right, my maths and numbers not good.
You can get hundreds of people on a plane.
Yeah, shut up then. I struggle to believe that these people have paid so much to go on holiday that were like, we're going, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ever so sorry, we're going to have an emergency landing because someone's dropped a dirty dog in the toilet.
I won't waste your time with looking for it now, but you will.
I'm not. Look, I joke, but I'm not surprised by anything anymore when it comes to this humanity race and our fucking lack of anything.
It's called Code Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, Code Brown. Code Brown. That's not turbulence, it's flatulence.
Imagine being the person who came out the toilet. Oh. Everyone's throwing up from the smell. So thick.
The last scene of Titanic because someone's done a dirty shit. Women and children off the plane first, it stinks. That's amazing.
There's a fucking violinist.
I go down with this plane. But Captain, it stinks. I'm going down.
Gas masks drop.
Now,
maybe that. Yeah.
That is a film that I'd watch, and I think Jared Leto would do a great great performance as the shit that logs the toilet.
The giant Leto.
Yeah. Any more dislikes?
Just the film. The fashion stuff and that. It's not, for me, it's not an interesting subject because I loathe that whole, it's pretend gold. It's like you dig for gold, you find real gold, there's value in it because it's rare. Someone tying together a few buckles and a bit of leather and saying this is worth $20,000 because I said it is, not because it's actually worth fuck
and
all.
People buy into it. People want that.
Yeah.
Someone says, "Oh, this bag is prestige fashion. It costs 20k." People out there go, "Oh, I really want a 20k bag. Why?
Yeah.
My £10 rucksack does exactly the same thing. In fact, it does more because I can put more shit in it. And you want to spend 25k because it has a word on it.
Yeah.
I don't get it either.
The value should never outweigh its function.
No.
And if it's going to have a tampon in it and or a chocolate bar or keys or a phone, how the fuck is that £20,000?
Yeah. It speaks of a privilege and a point of view that I'll never understand.
Can I hit you for stats?
Go on.
Just a real quick few stats. Harvard study showed 85 models, mean age of 22.7 years, 81% underweight, 71% stuck to a diet, 56 missed meals, 52 fasting, detoxing, 8% vomit inducing, 7% cocaine use, 2% had to use IV bags, which usually are given to people that are starving.
Jesus.
That's models, and that's Harvard.
That's
It's a shit industry.
devastating.
Man. And Gucci only promotes that, really.
It's, yeah, when you think of how coveted those items of fashion attire or whatever you'd call them, how people live to try and attain these things. On one end of the scale, you have the people suffering in third world countries that are making the shit. Then you've got the models that are trying to show how amazing stuff, that are starving themselves to sell this product for a ridiculous amount of money.
But no one dresses like that in the street.
No, of course they don't.
Which I always found weird with fashion shows. I always found it fascinating that this little subculture all meet up. They do their flashing cameras, they clap because someone's wearing a bin. And it's so like...
Why?
What is this is so alien to me. I don't need to go to Mars. I'll just go to one of them shows.
Yeah.
And Kate Moss, the first Martian.
I think there's an element of, like with abstract art or real art house cinema, I don't necessarily think the people that claim enjoy it or want it or admire it actually do. I think it's just for the sake of being able to have that place in society, to feel superior to others by like, oh, I understand high fashion. Oh, I know they're wearing a bin, but what this actually speaks of is to da-da-da-da-da. It's all nonsense.
It shows it in the film, doesn't it?
You and I will never understand that because we're level-headed, normal peoples. Like, we won't watch this, and to hear the plight of the privileged going, oh, my husband wants to divorce me and I'm only going to have tens of millions of dollars because he's really famous, and I'm really upset. Weird. It's like, I don't care. Like, you still have a life that's far superior to 90% of us. You don't have to worry when your next meal's coming. You don't have to worry about bills and stuff. You're sorted. Like, your struggles, I can't compute.
So they're getting off on, they want the masses to want to be them, but be out of reach. So it shows in the film, Gaga's really annoyed that her maid has a Gucci copy bag. Yeah. Because she feels a maid shouldn't have a Gucci bag.
Yeah.
And I find that's cruel. And the fact that Al Pacino even says if a housewife in Long Island wants a bag, we should let them have a bag.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Even if it is a copy.
Yeah.
And she talks about quality and everything. So it's weird that they want to be lauded, loved, and like almost prayed to. They almost want to be a god, but they don't want to be near their subjects, like Lady Lannister.
Well, it's imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think Al Pacino's character looks at it and goes, oh, it's amazing that people who can't afford it can get something that's similar that might make them feel a little bit better. Whereas Gaga's looking at it and being like, how dare they? We're far superior. People shouldn't think that this housemaid is having that caliber of handbag, which is so ridiculous. Strip it all back. It's about a fucking handbag.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep.
Another one.
Another nugget.
How is a bag necessary? Unless it's on your back and full of bread.
To feed
someone's. People's.
Yeah.
Some puddings.
Yes. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, it shouldn't be 20 grand.
I don't get it. No. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Like the film. Anything else you didn't like about it?
Cheap product placement showing a Nastro Zero beer in a shot. They might as well have just said spaghetti.
Well, it joins the army of stereotypes in the film, doesn't it? And just, trying to really drive home that Italian authenticity, but let's ignore the fact that it's American actors speaking English in an Italian accent.
Yeah.
But let's have surrounding it, let's make it as authentic as possible. It's like, no, it's nonsense.
Why didn't they just do what Chernobyl did? So with Chernobyl...
TV series.
Yes, terrible disaster. Don't go and blow up a power plant. Yeah, the TV series. He didn't want to cheapen it by having Boris and Natasha accents. So he just said, guys, we're telling a story. You're fine actors. Just do it in your own voice. Might take a while for people to, like, even I was a bit like, it's a bit weird. Didn't care after 20 minutes.
Because you're not distracted by dodgy accents.
No.
You're not going, no one's sitting there going, well, if they'd got actual Russian actors in, this would be a better story. They don't try to cover it up. They don't. They're like you say, English actors speaking English. They've got the Russian names because they're based on true people.
Yes.
But they're not trying to. I agree. I think at the least they should have done that. Have the Americans speaking with their American accents.
I think the Italians would have been more invested.
I think so.
Yeah.
And listen, it's not our place to speak on their behalf, but I know if I was of a nationality that was being represented by poor accents, I know I would prefer that. The best case solution would have been an Italian director, Italian actors set in Italy with subtitles. That would have been the real solution, but obviously people don't like subtitles, do they?
No.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't like most about it is accents and casting. We've touched on this, but number one, most of the accents were at best stereotyped and distasteful. Number two, in a time where representation is deemed crucial, how were Americans casted as Italians and spoke to each other in English? It boggles my mind. I know we've just spoken about it, but I can't get my head around it. We live in a world where if a straight actor plays a gay character, there's uproar. We live in a world if a fully abled actor plays someone with a disability, everyone's up in arms because it should be a disabled person playing that role. And, representation is important.
But you shouldn't get the role just because you're disabled.
No.
You'd have to show some acting prowess.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's a results-driven, money-making business. If it's not watchable or believable, people aren't going to stick around to finish it.
Oh, I've got a question.
Okay.
So what you're saying there has just made me think, what if the acting role, so say like, what's the Riz Ahmed film, the drumming film? I always forget the name. Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal, yeah.
Right, so he's not deaf to begin with. So, and kind of like the Danish girl, Eddie Redmayne becomes a woman, is a man. Why can he not play the man that becomes the woman? Why can Riz Ahmed not be the guy who isn't deaf, which he isn't in real life, and then become deaf? You can't change your actor because the disability came in halfway through the story. It's a different guy.
I'm a firm believer that if you're in a film, you're acting, and by its definition, acting is being someone you are not. So I don't have a problem with someone playing a different sexuality, if they've got a disability, a different age. I think the problem is if an actor does blackface or something like that, paints their skin, that's a little bit icky. That's a bit like, well, why aren't you just casting
Sometimes people miss the point though, don't they? So
if it's done for a comedic turn, like Tropic Thunder,
yeah, but that was done to point
meta.
out. Yeah, but because that's done to point out how odd it is that actors think it's okay to go and like say, but pretend to be cerebral palsy for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that Ben Stiller was trying to point out to people, like, it is so ridiculous how far actors go. Jared Leto sending dead mice to people.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
It's baffling.
Yeah.
It is.
But you still get people to just think they're watching racism. But it's like, no, you idiot. Ben Stiller's pointing out to you that it's wrong for people to think it's totally okay to just adopt a culture for your fucking career.
Well, exactly, and what I struggle with is selective scandal. So people are in uproar, like we say, about those fully abled actors playing disabled roles.
Yes,
and all of that sort of thing.
Red roles.
But then films like House of Gucci, no one gives a shit that you've got them hamming up really awful Italian accents. I mean, they're not all bad. Credit where credit's due. Some of them are all right, but for the large part of the film, you're like, is this racist? Like, this feels at best distasteful, But no one's kicking off about it because it's got the likes of Lady Gaga, who everyone seems to love, the likes of Adam Driver, Ridley Scott, who's a well-established, well-respected director. No one's kicking off. And my problem is, if you're going to kick off, you kick off about everything. You don't select the things that you're outraged by. If you're outraged by misrepresentation, you should be outraged by every form of misrepresentation. You can't pick and choose.
What a weird world we live in, where you could literally, and probably couldn't be challenged for it because of the opposing argument, say a homosexual actor can no longer play a straight actor.
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah.
Like, why are we not basing this just on the fact that he can act or she can act?
Yeah.
And it's like, because, well, there's two sides to the dice. And the problem is, when you turn around and say it's wrong Eddie Redmayne played a transvestite or transgender when he's not one, it's like, okay, but what if a transgender or non-binary actor now wants to play a queen who had kids and was married in a series? It's like, now what?
Yeah,
it's weird.
That's the problem I have. It has to be all.
Yes, which is ridiculous, because then it's not acting.
For all, not rules for some, rules for others. It has to be the same.
But that's a documentary.
Yeah,
which is available to all people.
Yeah.
You can do a documentary on disabilities, you can do it on race, you can do it on everything.
Yeah.
Finding it very strange now, this weird world. Like you said, barring a very, like, having someone having their bloody face pulled back to mimic or be derogatory towards Chinese people. Obviously, you won't watch that in a film. That's weird.
That's blatantly disrespectful.
And uncomfortable. I'm not saying Tom Cruise, well, Tom Hanks played a Chinese person, hold on.
No, they did Cloud Atlas. They within the film they have a nucleus of actors that play different races, different genders, different age groups. So I think within that construct of a film, I think it's deemed okay because everybody's doing it,
and it was on purpose, yeah.
And I think it helps in the narrative of that film. The two people directing it are transgender, so if anyone had the audacity to say anything about that, they'd be like, well, no, hang on, the director's transgender, they can speak, like, they can do what they like, which I think is also problematic.
Yes.
That's the selectiveness is what bothers me. You can't decide to be outraged at Eddie Redmayne playing a pre-op
someone in transition,
yeah, thank you, and then be fine with the House of Gucci with, oh, it's okay, it's Lady Gaga, I love her music, it's fine. Like, you've got to be outraged by all of it if you're outraged by some of it.
Yeah, Sheldon can't be straight in Big Bang. Like, that's what I mean.
With that thought process, yes, you're
so
right.
Barring being extremely right-wing and derogatory and racist and being ridiculous, which would be a shit film anyway if you were impersonating a Chinese person or a black person or any other race other than your own, which is nauseating to watch, just leave it alone. Yeah. But that's a given.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I could speak about this stuff for hours. Another thing I didn't like was the man himself. Surprise, surprise, Jared Leto. At this point, I don't understand how he keeps getting acting roles. His tone in this one was almost a hate crime, and his accent was, like I said, better suited to a Super Mario computer game from the 90s. In a film full of phony accents, this was the hardest to stomach. Over the top, and I'm starting to genuinely dislike the man.
Yeah,
which is a shame because I'm not a fan of his music. I know he's the lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars.
Is it some shit emo stuff?
But back in the day, he did 2 absolute bangers with that band, which I loved, and I stand by great songs.
Give me a little.
I'm not going to sing it for you.
I don't recall.
I don't remember. I'll sing it to you off air. I'll give you a drunken whole performance because it's in my locker. I perform these songs.
I wanted to slate it.
Poorly. But you see him in a film like this, and it's a shame because you look at Requiem for a Dream, you look at Dallas Buyers Club, and I do think there's something there. But I think his ego has grown so much as he's got older that now it's just a huge question mark. It's like, what are you doing? And how he keeps getting casted in films and lessening the impact of films. I'm just like...
That happened with Johnny Depp, though. I think when you're doing it too much and you keep churning out this method, your method, like, I have it with Bale, like, and we won't go into it, but the jumping up and down and wait for every bloody film annoys me. Johnny Depp went that way with Tim Burton. Like every single film was a huge over the top character, and now Leto's doing it. He's jumping between I'm a transgender with AIDS in Dallas Buyers. I'm the Joker. Is he the Joker? Yeah, in Suicide Squad, and he's also a musician. He's a drug addict in Requiem, and I just think, and yes, he is acting, but it kind of becomes a caricature of themselves.
Yeah,
you start being like, oh,
I think the difference,
less impactful.
The difference between someone like Christian Bale, who I believe is one of the
I said we weren't going into it.
I'm going
because we've done it a lot,
but I'm going back into Bale. I think he's at his core is a more talented, more watchable, more charismatic presence. Jared Leto isn't that, and he takes on these roles where he thinks this is going to be my big artistic license where I get to be this amazing performance, and he lands flat on his arse every time. And you're looking at the performances, and especially this one in House of Gucci, you're looking at him as Paolo Gucci, and as I say, the second time watching it, it was almost more entertaining than the film because I was just watching it for him.
It's Emilio Estevez.
And okay,
it is.
Yeah. But
Men at Work.
He's a distracting presence on screen, and I don't think he is as talented as he thinks he is. And I think those isolated performances, like Requiem and like Dallas Buyers Club, I think they're compared to everything else. They're not common.
No.
Most of the stuff he does are like turns in this.
We all do it, but we're not all in the limelight. So there's been points where I thought, I'm an artist, or I'm a poet.
Yeah,
I'm this or that.
But of course.
That shit disappears down a couch and no one knows about it.
Yeah.
This guy, you're on a world stage.
Yeah.
Lincoln.
Yeah. Hey, tell you
We're
what.
on the world stage. Let's just talk about Lincoln as well.
Yeah. Let's touch every subject. Final thing I didn't like about the film was the runtime.
So long.
Whilst I was never bored, there is no excuse for this being almost 3 hours long.
No excuse.
The pacing somehow felt rushed, which is bizarre considered the bloated runtime. The fact that this film's nearly 3 hours, the way it jumps between important parts of the stories, like I mentioned earlier about his dad dying, it's just, okay, that seems like a really important part of the story. Oh, okay, the part of the film where he starts to fall out of love with his wife, Patrizia Reggiani, and it's just done. It just moves so fast, but it's like, how are you going to move so fast but feel so slow? And at 3 hours long, it feels so messy.
That's cool.
And
that's good words.
Yeah, all in all, House of Gucci was an overperformed, over-directed and underwhelming Blairfest. It was, really.
It wasn't pudding.
It was not pudding. And yeah.
It's sad when it happens because Ridley Scott, for 10 years, I'd say he was in my top 5 directors of all time because he was revolutionary. What he did with Blade Runner, Alien, he came on the scene with Blade Runner and Alien. Yeah. I'm not saying watch them now and they're incredible now. They still they have value.
Yeah, of course.
And and when he banged out with Gladiator, man, oh man, Gladiator, what an incredible film to watch at the cinema. I don't know if it's aged well, but he's lost his touch.
I've watched Gladiator recently and it still holds up for me.
Yeah,
I think
I believe it would.
You've got those goosebump-inducing monologues from Russell Crowe. You've got the sneering villain of Joaquin Phoenix.
It was magic filmmaking because it was so unprepared as well. There was barely a script,
and it's long, it's epic,
yes,
and everything hits right. And I think as Ridley Scott gets older, his films, I hate to say it, are lessening in quality.
Yeah. Even American Gangster, when I was so excited to go and watch a 70s cop film
man.
With 2 huge actors, and I was like, that's subpar.
It was, yeah. And what I'll say about House of Gucci, it wasn't awful because, like I say, I wasn't bored. It was just really bang average.
He's struggling. He is.
Yeah, I like The Last Duel. He made them films really close together, Last Duel and House of Gucci.
Yeah.
And Last Duel I watched and I thought, you know what, that's actually really good.
Again,
good film.
We struggle with the accents in the casting.
Well, yeah, in that
Shouldn't have been Damon and Affleck.
In that film, you have characters based on real life French people played by Americans who speak in an English accent.
Yes.
With the dodgiest haircuts you're ever likely to see.
He's struggling.
And it's like, yeah.
He's not adapting, I don't think, very well.
This isn't a comment made to sound ageist or discriminatory against him in his older years. But I think there's something to be said about the older he gets, the less quality his product is.
Well, let's see with Kitbag, which I think now is called Napoleon, but it's Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon.
And I hope to God that that's decent, because I love Joaquin Phoenix. I think the Napoleon story could be a really interesting story. I think when Ridley Scott is at the top of his game, I mean, you look at The Martian,
I love The Martian.
Black Hawk Down, like you said, Blade Runner, Alien and Gladiator, they are classics.
Yeah.
Martian was out less than 10 years ago.
That's a great film.
And that film is amazing. One of, if not possibly the best Matt Damon performance for me.
Yeah, it's
definitely
incredible.
up there. Amazing film. And he does everything right there. Builds the tension, builds the atmosphere. Nothing feels hammy, yeah. Then you look at films like House of Gucci and you look at The Last Duel, even though I quite enjoyed The Last Duel, you're just like, it feels like you're losing it. It feels like watching a football player that are approaching 36, 37. They've lost the pace.
Yeah.
They can't keep up. Their legs go. They can only last 30 minutes in a game. And you sort of, as a lover of football and as a lover of film, it gets to the point where you're like, don't ruin your legacy. That's why Jack Nicholson will always be a legend, because he stepped out of the game when he started to get a bit older. Yeah. So he's still got all those amazing performances there, and they're not hampered like what Morgan Freeman and unfortunately Robert De Niro and Al Pacino have done.
They do make some strange choices.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it, to be at that age of
they should just enjoy it.
That stage of life, still being offered work and getting these huge amounts of money to support your family and enjoy the last years of your life or whatever. I understand it, I get it, but if you look at someone's body of work and you see it start diluting and lessening, it's a sad thing to see.
Well, they're not whores. There's a role for every age.
Of course, yeah. And I think as cinema's developed, I think there are better roles for now. An old boy in a film doesn't have to be a disgruntled old man. Doesn't have to be a person losing their marbles, suffering with dementia and stuff. They can be really strong older characters now, and I think that is evolving and progressing. It's just sad when you see people like Ridley Scott, who will always be considered a great lesson in his body of work with films like this. That's just me anyway.
Yes.
I've got some questions. Lady Gaga is the latest in a long line of musicians to cross the bridge between music and acting. Now, we have touched on this already. Where do you stand on musical artists delving into acting?
I'm not a fan if it distracts from the story, but it's been going on years. Bowie, Jagger, they were in films, I'm sure of it.
Tom Waits, I think he was quite a successful transition from a musician to an actor, but he's unique.
He's quite an artist though, isn't he? So when he does like his music, like the Fawn and stuff with the fiddle, it's more. I think he can do it because he's not really taking a lead role. He's more of a support, isn't he? Yeah. I might be biased. I probably like him more as a musician, so I probably suffer him more in films. But I think he's good in films. I can't get behind artists of today, which makes it sound like I'm 70, but it's just weird. I find it odd.
A la Harry Styles.
Well, yeah, who needs 11 people to help him write a shit song?
Yeah.
And then they're charting it. It's like Taylor Swift, man. No one knows what she's saying. She's just...
That sounds like a weird conspiracy theory.
It's true, though. It's a copy-paste song. It is this weird paradigm of... enjoying the fact that you get dumped and stuff, but just charting it every year. Charting it. She's not Jimi Hendrix. She's not Mozart. She's not doing anything that's just like, you know, when music really stops you in your tracks and you hear a haunting concerto, a beautiful high note or something gut-wrenching, something beautiful. She's trash music. And she's up there. She'll be in a movie soon.
You're going to upset a lot of people because people love Taylor Swift. Personally, I don't. And personally, I do agree with you. I think that if you're fortunate...
8 Mile, good.
But he's playing himself.
Yes.
Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born, she plays a musician really well. Guess why? She's a musician. So I think there is a space where that they can live, where musicians can go onto the other side and vice versa. But I feel like these people are lucky enough to be breakthrough in what they love. So they're an actor. They've managed to make it through talent, through nepotism, through looks, charisma, whatever it is. They've managed to make it where so many millions of people try and fail. And then they get to cross that bridge over to acting or music, based on which side they're on. And people allow it because they've already...
Where does it end?
Exactly.
Will Adele play Rebel Wilson or or Amy Schumer in her biography? Or will it be the other way around?
Exactly.
Will Amy Schumer play Adele in her biography?
It's a question I don't have the answers for.
Ugh.
But I think I'm with you on that sentiment. I think it can certainly lessen a film. Like you look at a film's casting, you're like, oh, I like that. Well, Harry Styles, what are you doing there? And I'm not a fan of Harry Styles' music. I'm not a fan of Harry Styles' acting. I have no opinion on the man whatsoever. I know people love him for his stint in One Direction and his mediocre music.
That's exactly
as a single solo artist.
Who's losing out on a role where they've put their attention, love and passion is to act? Who's losing out on a role so a musician can step in just because he has a name?
And I think that is the dark damage inside of it. You look at it and you see, oh, well, you know what? They know that people love Harry Styles, so he's got in. For every Harry Styles, there's Joe Blogs out there that could have been perfect for this role, but because Harry said, oh, well, you know what? I want to be in this, Joe Blogs isn't getting
some cock casting agent went, do you know what we need for this? We need something fresh, something new. We need the new avocado of now. Who's that? Who are you talking about? Harry Styles. Of course, in Dunkirk, yes, why not?
Yeah, it's troubling, isn't it, mate? In a time where representation is deemed crucial within society, how does a film like House of Gucci get away with casting Americans as Italians and have them speaking in English in Italian accents? Tell me why.
What language did you choose?
Gibberish. Frustrated gibberish.
I think watching foreign cinema helps because then you see the value in it. And then when you have your Hollywood films, and it is a Hollywood film, and it is an American character or a British character, and you're watching, an actor just perform something within their realm of their remit, something they can actually achieve. I think it's something they can't achieve. It's so why? Like Russell Crowe's accent in Robin Hood. It jumps between Irish, Australian, American. It's like, why? You're ruining your own film because you want this actor here, but he can't do the accent. Like, why are we doing it? Why are we suffering the Italian accents in House of Gucci when we don't have to in a world of Monica Bellucci's, Vincent Cassel's, Mario D'Amore's? Why not? Why? Why can't Ridley Scott value other countries' actors and be like, do you know what? Just, can you speak English? Yeah, I can speak English. Where were you born? Sicily. You speak fluent Italian? Yes. Okay, great. You're great for this role.
Yeah, that's as a film lover, from a film lover's perspective, it's mind-boggling because the simple solution is, I would love to have seen this film with authentic Italian cast in the Italian language from an Italian director and really learn about this story, because it is an interesting story of love, greed, scandal, based on facts.
Doesn't need a big budget either.
No, it doesn't.
If you're filming on location in Italy, why you don't need a budget, especially if you're Italian.
But then you look at the brand, the Gucci brand. Who's that going to appeal to? It's going to appeal to your more mainstream
LA.
Cinema audiences. Yeah,
London.
Are they going to go and sit through a 2-hour Italian subtitled film with actors they don't know? Probably not. Are they going to sit through a 3-hour film with Adam Driver and Lady Gaga at the helm? Probably, yeah. And that's why it was Oscar nominated.
I'd rather leave a legacy behind with respect and be like, that was excellent. City of God.
Yeah.
Incredible. Ugh. Imagine doing it. Imagine walking away and that's the film you made. And you made use of the real people, favelas, the setting, everything. And you achieved that film.
But
how could you then go and do a Gucci? I know he didn't do City of God, but what I'm saying is the contrast is huge.
Yeah. I think if you attempted a story like the Gucci story, and it was produced by an Italian film company, Italian actors, Italian directors, everything like that, and it flopped, I think you applaud the attempt at trying to make this film of a story that wider audiences don't necessarily know the facts about.
Monetary or critique flop?
What do you mean?
Well, flop money-wise, it's not the same as
exactly
criticism.
Yes. So I think House of Gucci was probably a financial success. I think as a film in its entirety, it's probably from genuine cinephiles and critics, it's
not
probably
highly,
scowled at because the fact of the matter is it's not great.
It's too obvious.
Yeah.
If it looks like shit, smells like shit, it's probably shit.
Yep. And that's that. Final question. What is Jared Leto's fucking problem?
It's a lot of things. I don't think someone hugged him, his mummy or his daddy. And I don't know, they might not be alive, so apologies. But This guy needs constant ego touch. He wants tickle on tum tum. Hot water bottle at bed. He wants to be a rock star. He wants to be an actor. He's probably volunteered to go to fucking Mars. I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
He probably works Subway as well part-time because he can put that turkey in that bun better than anyone.
Yeah, but make sure the cameras are on him so he can show people that he's a Subway connoisseur.
Yeah.
As I said before, when I saw him in Requiem for a Dream, when I saw him in Lord of War, Fight Club, Dallas Buyers Club, there's something there. There's something there. The problem is his ego's got in the way. And I think if he'd kept his head down, I don't see him as a leading man.
DBC was his tour de force.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll top that. I would actually argue Requiem for a Dream was his stronger performance.
He lost an arm.
How impactful that film is.
Yes.
He was a lot younger, so his talent was raw. He wasn't sort of fogged by his own ego and his own self-gratification. I mean, the man turned up to a fashion gala with a replica head of himself. Like, what is that?
That's like James Franco, though, isn't it?
But
pick a lane, like you said, pick a lane. You haven't earned it yet.
Yeah.
One thing, right? Maybe get to 65. Like, I think Anthony Hopkins started doing some paintings and selling them after he'd done his whole body of work. He started, he wanted to do a few paintings in his like late 60s. He started selling fine.
And that, you can't help but respect that.
Yeah.
He's put in the time. He is an incredible actor. Has done some of the most amazing performances.
Yeah.
He's an icon.
Yeah.
If he's done his time, and I'm sure, like most actors, he's made a few shit films.
Yeah.
Of course he has. He's man's got to eat, he's got to pay his bills. He takes some lesser roles on, of course he has. But his iconic legacy will remain intact. Yeah. Jared Leto's gone the other way. He started off as promising, and now he's becoming like you said, a caricature of himself.
Well, they jumped too soon now. That's the issue. Like, there's no way Harry Styles, I'm just going to keep using that name because it's familiar, it should have a biography out before he's 25 years old. What
have you done yet?
You shouldn't be looking at that. I shouldn't know much about you, mate, until you're about 60. Then tell me your life story. You're 25 and you've got a biography.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's difficult to stomach, isn't it, mate? What would you rate House of Gucci out of 10?
5.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you, man.
That's not far off what general consensus sort of giving it.
Yeah, I think it would be if the film... Listen, Ridley Scott, he's a storyteller first and foremost, and he, as we've mentioned, he rightfully has a place among cinema's greatest directors. You look at his body of work. I don't think that's up for debate. No. I think it's great. I think he is damaging his legacy with things like this, but it's not the film's interesting enough. The storyline's interesting. The fact that it's based on a true story is compelling enough. It's just the class and the style in which it's told is questionable, and for that reason it lessens the score. I'd go right with you. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. It's the most average film I think I've seen since the last really average film I watched.
There's a brand I tend to give films like this where I say the trailer was better than the film, and it was.
Yeah.
It was just, the trailer looked exciting, looked fresh. It's like, it's about Gucci. What happened with Gucci? I didn't know something untoward happened with that family.
And again, credit where credit's due. I didn't know any of this was a real thing. No. So I guess on one hand, you could say, well, it educated me slightly. How true the film is to actual events, I couldn't tell you because I don't want to go researching it because I don't care that much. But yeah, reeks of mediocrity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't there even a quote in the film about Jason Isaacs tells Jared Leto's character that you are like the epitome of mediocrity?
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs.
Did I? Oh, well,
wait, is that Malfoy's dad? Jason Isaacs.
Yeah. Don't know where I pulled that. They've got the same initials. That's it.
You've achieved absolute mediocrity.
Yeah, and as has the House of Gucci.
Yeah.
That gives House of Gucci a total score of 10 out of 20. If you enjoy awful accents, are a Leto loyalist, or want to watch a film that is inexcusably long, if you like your Italians to be American and speak English for no other reason besides convenience, then House of Gucci could be a film for you. Consider watching this one if you enjoyed Coco Before Chanel, The Devil Wears Prada, and Spencer. Shall we play a game?
You see.
The game in question is What the Plot, where the rules are simple and the results quite the opposite. Harry will conceive an original idea from his big and beautiful brain and give birth to a plot. It is then down to me to nurture this thought by providing a film title, genre, cast, and anything else I can think of to raise this brainchild into a fully functioning film concept. Over to you, Harry.
John Facsimile.
As in...
That's his name.
Wait. As in fax? Is his name...
His last name is Facsimile.
Okay. But that is the full title for fax, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah. Nice. John Facsimile.
John
Please tell me
Facsimile.
he's the inventor of fax.
No.
Okay.
He's an old heart left behind by technology.
Oh.
The John Facsimile.
Oh,
no,
that's
no,
why he's...
You're getting lost. I've misled you. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
His name is John Facsimile, but
I was
essentially
going to say, that's lovely.
he lives in a slum in a greater part of London because it's a few years in the future. Yeah, it's not over the top. It's maybe 40 years from now.
Give me a year.
Food's going, energy, electricity. It's all dying. Yeah, it's going. And I don't need to give you a year. 40 years from now. What's
Okay.
that?
And
Yeah.
is that just London that's struggling, or worldwide it's shit?
It's shit worldwide. He's seen an advertisement for a way where he can get his family out of the shit. Because if he becomes the champion of blood golf,
Wait. Okay.
he can earn enough money to save his family and get the hell out of the slums where the life expectancy of an infant is like 11 years old and he's just had a baby. Now, blood golf.
I love this already. Okay.
Blood golf is 9 holes. Every hole has a killer on it and every club is a weapon.
Jesus.
You got to play golf while a killer's chasing you around a hole. Blood golf.
So in this game of blood golf, you walk up to the hole
No.
and the guy's waiting there.
No, you still tee off. So you start on your tee.
So it's normal golf, but at the hole is a murderer.
At the hole's a murderer running at you. He can't touch the ball.
Why would he want to touch the ball if he's trying to kill you? Oh, you've got to try and get the
You've
ball
got to
in
get the ball in the
without
hole.
him killing you.
Yeah.
With a golf club, or can you just pick it up?
So he's coming at you. He might be.
This is mental.
Yeah,
mate.
he's running at you. So it starts. If it's a par 5, you got a bit longer. Whack the ball. Prepare for him. Right. You can fight him off with your club. That's all you've got though. All you've got is your golf club. It's a blood golf, and he could be anything. It's essentially Running Man, isn't it? But with golf.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, fuck it, blood golf. And so nasty serial killer guy let loose, got to kill him. So he beats him down with a golf club, and then he just plays golf, essentially. But every hole's got a killer. So if he kills the guy on the first hole,
He's got to kill 8 more people.
yeah, but he can relax after he kills the first guy on that hole,
Oh,
because
that's
then
nice.
he can just play golf.
He gets a nice little downtime.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do anything else other than play golf after fighting a man to the death.
With a golf club.
So they both can only have golf clubs.
No, that serial killer or anyone who it is, or a prison convict, can choose any weapon he wants. Not a shooting weapon. It has to be a melee,
A melee.
a melee.
So he can have a knife.
Yeah, just a knife. Yeah.
Crossbow.
No shooting weapons. No missiles.
So John Facsimile can only go with a golf club against some guy with a fucking sword.
Yeah, because he's playing golf.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But that's the idea. But you also get more points, etc. If after you batter, murder, death the guy, you then play a really good round of golf, and then you play second hole, and a new killer comes at you. You survive 9 holes, 1 killer per hole. Your only weapon is a golf club, and also you get points for playing a good round of golf.
So
The only difference is the killer. That's the only thing that makes it blood golf. Can you concentrate when he's running at you? Because you can imagine he breaks your arm. You can't pop the fucking ball in the hole, can you? You got to look after those arms and legs.
well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Let's plot this.
There's a plot there. Blood golf. Okay. So this is just a mad film, isn't it? This is chaos.
It's chaos.
This is the epitome of chaos.
It's chaos.
So let's recap. John Facsimile lives in London, in a London slum 40 years into the future. Worldwide, life is shit. He finds a solution to his problems to get himself out of this slum life, and that comes in the form of blood golf. Blood golf is a 9-hole game where each hole you have to fight off a killer with a golf club, but they've got any weapon they want.
Just not missile weapons.
So
have to get close.
I see this as it being a widely televised event because it's like a gladiatorial arena, but with golf and murder.
And everyone hates
everyone. Everyone wants to watch it. Fuck me, it makes golf a bit more exciting.
Exactly.
I can't stand golf. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'd have it in like a dystopian future where the rich and powerful watch people who are desperate to improve their lives
and their par and their game.
Yeah. So the golfing aspect is a big part of
golf's taken over. There's no football, there's no rugby, there's nothing.
Right.
Golf is.
So they have to play a good round of golf. Keep below. I don't even know the terminology.
But
below
under
par. Under par. Yeah.
Under par.
They have to play well and kill.
Prowess and goal.
So how about this? John Facsimile, he's not much of a fighter, but before the world went to shit, he was an amazing golf player.
Yes, that was his benefit.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So he's seen this. He's seen his poor, struggling family. Oh, slum life's really hard, isn't it? Yeah, we should get out. Yeah, but I can't, got no money. What should I do? Oh, you played golf, didn't you, John? Yeah, but if only there was a way to make...
Finds an old club in an old shop, picks it up, and the guy goes, wow, you hold that just like you knew how to. Once I did.
Yeah, and I think you could have... so you have two characters... I think you have like every film, this sort of rags to riches, like sport film, you have to have like a Mick from Rocky fight in your corner, you know?
Right.
Yeah, you've got to have that.
Get up.
So I'd have their two characters. There'd be John Facsimile, who was a golfer, and he's, I guess, trainer. He's motivation.
Liam Neeson.
Could be.
I didn't know.
But we have another character that wasn't a golfer but used to be an SAS or like a special forces or fighter brawler, like
super army.
So for some reason they're both in the slum world and they take John on his journey to try and conquer blood golf and take his family out of the slums. I love it. As for the title, I can't look past blood golf. It's impossible for me to look at anything else. So the film's called Blood Golf.
Yeah.
Directing the film. This is a little bit of a different angle, but I'm going to direct the film Takashi Miike. Sorry,
Harakiri.
Yes, did Harakiri, 13 Assassins, but he's also known for doing some really, really out there films.
Yes, he's gory.
Audition. I'm thinking like audition type, controversial, gory, daunting. Horror / violent fest that could be really, and imagine that centered around the game of golf, right? And in the lead, I wouldn't, because they live in London, they don't have to necessarily be Londoners or English. I see it as an American that's come over because they thought it was going to be better over here, and it turns out it's just as bad or not worse. And because we spoke about him so much, and because the film's so wacky, I'm having Jared Leto as John Facsimile. I don't care. I'd quite like to see him. I'd quite like to see him getting done. You know what? Spoiler alert: he doesn't win. He dies. He gets to the last hole and he dies.
Dies on the ninth hole.
But people club together because they're like, look at this man. Look at we have it. Whatever. I don't really care. I just want to see Jared Leto get killed.
The hole that the ball's got to go in could be the open mouth of like a recently killed prisoner. It's just like barred open. It's like that.
And then hole 9, he gets past the person, gets to the hole, and it's his wife's mouth.
Oh shit, that is wicked, because he's fighting to save his wife and kid.
Yeah.
And in the end, he got severed. What's in the box?
And he looks in the hole. He looks in the hole, thinks he's about to do it. He thinks he's beaten off the 9-hole boss.
Yes.
He's at the 9th hole. He doesn't have 9
Prince
holes.
of Persia, 9-hole boss.
He does it. He gets right to there to tap it in, sees his wife's mouth open, and he drops to his knees. And then he gets killed. He's dead.
No, but if you put the ball in her mouth, it'll kill her anyway. So does he win and get the money and save his son?
Oh, so it's like a Saw type deal. Her mouth is in a like mouse trap, and if a weight hits the mouth, it goes...
Well, it closes the track, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't even need that. A golf ball would stop her breathing. It's Sophie's choice with golf.
Blood golf. Stepping up to tee is John Facsimile. He's gone with the 4-iron. It's a lovely drive straight onto the green. He looks very happy with that. Crowd very appreciative with that hit. And he goes heading towards Nasty Barry, who is yielding some sort of axe-sword hybrid. He looks very angry today. John's going to have to do his best to sidestep this. Oh, he's ducked the swing from Angry Barry, and he's swung. He's got his kneecap. He is down. That's a lovely hit to the face, jamming it into the throat. Barry is in a lot of trouble. John keeps pushing through. He's done exceptionally well there. John goes off to the second to make quick work of Nasty Barry. Quiet, please. while they remove the body.